The Test. Written by Maria Krestovskaya. Narrated by Virginia Ferguson. Chapter 1. Vera Pavlovna did not sleep all night and rose in the morning with a heavy head and an odd aching feeling in her chest, either happy or anxious. She picked up the note once again and reread it for the 20th time, as if still looking for something between the lines and awakening, despite herself, the old memories revived by this bold, familiar male handwriting. She was reading calmer now. The letters no longer jumped before her eyes and did not become misted over, and her heart did not beat as quickly. Still, the writing stirred within her the strange, painful sensation which troubled and tormented her all night and all morning. "You are right," she read. "I was a fool, dreaming of bringing back the old happiness and love. Indeed, I should not have written to you the way I did. It happened despite myself, and I ask you to forgive me for what I said and for asking you for something I no longer have a right to. But I do have one privilege left, to see Pavlusha. I hope you do not refuse me, especially since I am going abroad in a few days, and will not trouble you again with such a request any time soon. If you are so kind as to allow me this meeting, please let me know when and where I might see him. Your ever faithful, Sugrabov." Vera Pavlovna finished reading the note, but her gaze, pensive, glimmering with a kind of gentle brilliance, still rested upon it. Yes, of course she ought to allow her husband this meeting. Pavlusha was as much his son as he was hers, although, if she wished, she would have been entirely within her moral right not to allow it. He was the one who had once abandoned this child, showing even less pity for the boy than he did for her. Over the course of 5 years he did not remember his son once, did not ask about him, did not even try to find out whether he was alive and well. During these years, travelling all over Europe, going from one infatuation to the next, he probably thought about her and Pavlusha even less than about other women, those with whom he had formed piquant but fleeting relationships. That, at least, was what Vera Pavlovna told herself and wished to think as she attempted to exacerbate her anger at her husband. She purposely recalled the torment she had to bear because of him 5 years earlier, and, agitating her wounded pride, tried to summon again the feelings of shame, grief, and painful humiliation which tore at her during those days when she realized he had fallen out of love with her and was about to leave her. Her face burned from shame, even as rage and insulted fury rose within her. But a moment later, a different feeling slipped into her soul, as if embarrassed and hiding from her. Her cheeks paled, and tender bright sparks flickered in her eyes. Despite herself, something else arose along with these purposely summoned recollections. Scenes from the past flitted before her, nearly forgotten during the last few years, but suddenly vivid and alive. She saw herself young, happy, and trusting, and him at her side, the way he was during the early days of their love, tender and passionately in love with her. She saw the shores of the endless blue sea, as they used to gaze at it from their window in the evenings, clinging to one another, admiring the hot sunset gilding the water with its last rosy light. They spent their best months there. From Crimea they went to the Caucasus, from the Caucasus to Italy. They wandered almost 3 years, following his passion for change. At the time she liked it too. One day they were in the sun-drenched south, among the mountains and luxuriant greenery. A week later they galloped in a cart somewhere across the Orenburg governorship. But when Pavlusha was born, these travels became more difficult. They spent
Sample complete. Ready to continue?